All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to talk about in our live stream today. One of the first questions that I want to answer for a lot of people who are watching this is, hey, did crypto just peak? You know, is $69,000 top for Bitcoin? Are we going to head into some kind of bear market? I'm seeing lots of questions about this online, a lot of fear in the marketplace over the past 24 hours. So definitely want to address that first. We're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in the space since yesterday, answer some of your questions, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, nothing I'm saying in this video is designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers like down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'm never going to comment on your posts and ask you to give me money or like give you my phone number or anything like that. That's absolutely crazy. I'll never DM you on social media, never going to reach out to you on anything. All right. So we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Automatic Beats, ENIAC, IOTA Token, Bob, Francis, Alden, Andrew, Troy, El Camino, Play to Earn. Welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Let me just adjust my desk here. Awesome. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. So the first thing I want to talk about is, did crypto just peak? All right, because yesterday we had a pretty quick blow up. Let's just see here. We went from Bitcoin basically hit a new all-time high of like $69,000, and then quickly jumped down to about $64,000. People are like, hey, was that the top? So I don't think so. All right, for lots of different reasons, which I'll go through right now. So basically, a couple things to think about is I've been talking about this for about a week now, which is, crypto has been pretty bullish without any significant corrections for a while, especially with major cap cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? Let me just pull some of my screen here so I can show you what I'm talking about. We've been in kind of an up-only mode for like about 30 days plus without any significant corrections. Let me just pull this up here. Just see here. Like, if you look at this, all right, this is kind of just like a straight line up on a linear chart, all right? No significant corrections, just kind of gentle up and down, all the way to the current price levels, all right? So the other thing about this is, so typically whenever that happens, like, it just can't happen forever. Like, crypto doesn't go up in a straight line forever. And the other thing is just the sentiment of the marketplace and people's uses of leverage, all right? You can actually track this stuff across multiple metrics. I put this tweet on my Twitter the other day, talking about the crypto fear and greed index. Okay. You can see it here. Let's see here. Yeah, the crypto fear and greed index. I put something the other day. Basically, it was an extreme greed. Just, let's see, a couple days ago. That was 2 days ago. Whenever we enter into that territory, it's typically just a matter of time before something happens that at least scares people, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to like go into some massive correction, go into a bear market, but usually whenever stuff does this, we're usually ready for some sort of, swift return to reality. Now, that doesn't mean the reality of the market has fundamentally changed and that it's, on a continued trajectory up, continuing a bull market, but it's not just, smooth sailing up only, no corrections along the way. That's not how these bull markets work, all right? They typically have periods where people think, hey, this is over, I'm out, right? Because it's not actually that easy to ride a crypto bull market all the way through and, cash out at an appropriate time. Now, that's another thing to understand is basically if you're new around here and you've been here for the last month or so, maybe you've just taken the plunge into crypto, you've not really experienced much of a correction yet of any kind. I mean, even if you got into crypto within the last 12 months, you haven't experienced a real bear market, like a wintry, depressing bear market. I mean, some people, you got a little taste of that between maybe May and I'd say August of this year, maybe beginning of September, a little taste of it, but it's nowhere near the same thing as like a 2-year-long, just like slow bleed with no sign of recovery anytime soon. So that will definitely change your perspective on crypto, definitely give you a healthy fear of being too confident about anything, all right? Because I've been there, right? I'm not saying we'll necessarily get that again, like a nasty, 2-3 year period where nobody wants to touch crypto. But I'm saying if you've been through that, then you'll definitely change your perspective on how you view these markets and the amount of risk that you're willing to assume. So why do I think we're continuing to go up? Well, it's just like everything I've been saying before on this channel. Adoption of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, we're going to talk about more of that in a minute, is just rampant, all right? And basically, as that adoption continues going on, that actually can increase the demand for cryptocurrencies themselves because the use cases have cryptocurrency inextricably tied to the use cases themselves, and that demand is going to include the cryptocurrency assets themselves. We see the fundamental metrics going up. We can track them, active addresses, number of transactions per day, fees paid. It's all going up, all right? So it stands to reason, based on those assumptions, that crypto prices are going to continue to go up. So let's actually take a look at a couple things that line up with that. Okay, so a couple pieces of news that came out over the past couple of days. So Twitter has definitely been, a big supporter of, has been big into crypto. At least Jack Dorsey has, right? So Jack Dorsey, a founder, CEO of Twitter, okay, also Square, does a lot with money at Square, and then, is CEO of Twitter, has been a long time, Bitcoin advocate for sure, been deep into Bitcoin, has championed Bitcoin over other cryptocurrencies pretty heavily, right? Has been big on, a Lightning Network adoption, all that type of stuff. Wanted to see Bitcoin become the native money of the internet. Been a big advocate for crypto, right? So we also saw, so he does understand quite a bit about money, especially with what's going on with Square and their payments, okay? And we saw Twitter plan to roll out support for NFTs on the platform and also crypto payments, all right? So we talked about this, basically being able to tip with the Bitcoin Lightning Network. You can connect your wallet to your Twitter account. Same thing with NFTs. If you want to be able to display your NFT collection on your Twitter profile, you can do that by connecting your Ethereum wallet and also other blockchains too, and just like sign a message and then pulling in your NFTs, okay? You can also get a verification badge that you own the NFT if you want to use it as your profile picture. And now we're seeing a continuation of Twitter's involvement with crypto and blockchain technology with this that I saw come out yesterday. So Twitter Crypto, which is the team at Twitter that's focused on crypto, is designed to be a center of excellence for all things blockchain and Web3. All right, Web3, that's really important buzzword in this case. Referring to the term given to a growing number of decentralized apps that run on public blockchains, okay? So let me actually just pull up this thing. Somebody says Happy Veterans Day in the chat. Yes, Happy Veterans Day. So thank you if you have served as a veteran. So Twitter sets up crypto team to explore decentralized apps. All right, so this is big. All right, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Twitter try to do more in this direction of actually pursuing decentralization in some way to test it out, to see, basically to remain relevant long term. So I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow, right? And I think that it's very likely that that will happen in response to any perceived threats in the marketplace from other crypto social media initiatives, because I do think social media is a way that we can use, we can make it better with blockchain technology. And we talked about this with, Vitalik talked about this at ETHCC, Vitalik Buterin, mastermind behind Ethereum, talking about how, we are getting much better technology with Ethereum and Web 3.0 as it continues to scale with layer 2s and get cheaper, or we could feasibly build stuff like, social media applications on blockchain. We've seen the Aave decentralized finance protocol and organization release some breadcrumbs about their social media protocol that they are creating, okay? So I could definitely see, as those things start to mature, if they get to a point where we realize that there is actual utility value for those in the marketplace and that we can actually create crypto social media that has real benefits over Web 2 and that it has potential to be fierce competition, then it stands to reason that, if a social media giant wants to maintain relevance, then that's a pretty good reason to, start implementing those things into your own protocol. Because right now, if you're a social media giant, like, you may not care that much because crypto social media is essentially non-existent. We've seen some, challenges with that in the past. Some use cases not stick. But another thing you have to think about here is what's going on with Metaverse and Meta and Facebook's rebrand. You got Facebook, you got Twitter, who are definitely occupying very similar spaces, or at least in a very similar echelon in terms of global relevance, okay? And so if Facebook's pivoting towards Meta, which is pretty, Metaverse, which is largely based upon blockchain technology, and if other social media giants follow, we see Reddit doing the same types of things, with community points. That might have been a rumor, actually. I don't want to make very clear about that, but Reddit has done initiatives in the past with crypto, for sure. It's a growing trend, and so, like, let's just say the other social media giants are doing the same thing. That's another potential cause for relevance. Somebody says ENS pumped yesterday. Thank you for free money. Yeah, hope you all got your ENS airdrop. Hope you all watched the videos we did on ENS whenever we released them, and followed through, registered your ENS name. Let's actually just do a quick calculation here. Check on the ENS price and what you'd be sitting on if you claim the airdrop. And actually, I want to talk a little bit more about ENS and why this is such a game changer for crypto. So ENS is about $62 right now. And when I just did a quick kind of poll on my Twitter to see, isn't that most people getting about 200 tokens? So like 62, I think the max you could have got was like, I can't remember, 62 times, because you could do multiple wallets and you would have gotten a lot more. But 62 times about 200, you'd be sitting on about $13,000, something like that, $13,000. So not too bad, just for using an app once and paying like $50. Even if you did it like peak gas fees and it cost you like $250, you still would get a massive return off that. So definitely subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I've got a video coming out on a strategy that you can use to help try to find these airdrops in the future. If you don't have an ENS name now, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get that. But there are definitely ways to increase the likelihood that you can get on these types of things in the future, because it's pretty common for people to make like 5 figures from these airdrops. It's absolutely insane. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like a get-rich-quick scam, right? That like YouTube might ban your video for and all that type of stuff. But it's totally legit. It's just how it works in crypto. There's just no guarantee that you're going to know exactly which project does it and when. So let's talk about kind of why ENS is such a game changer, because basically, like, the ENS airdrop is actually pretty insane. Okay, so let me talk about why. So again, ENS is basically a domain name for your blockchain wallet, or like a screen name for your blockchain wallet, right? It's a decentralized protocol, and it's going through a very similar life cycle to other early blockchain projects, where basically you have a kind of centralized team that goes in and creates some smart contracts for this protocol, okay? And then it decentralizes. They decide we're gonna go from the central ownership to now DAO governance, or decentralized autonomous organization, where basically like some smart contracts govern this thing, and a bunch of people who hold cryptocurrency tokens are going to govern those smart contracts and vote on actions that they want taken, okay? And you need a cryptocurrency token in order to facilitate that process. So you gotta release it somehow, and so they do a drop, right? And so now the market cap of that is basically, let's see, the market cap is over $1 billion, and the fully diluted market cap, which is basically the market cap of all the tokens were released at the same time, is $6.3 billion. All right. So basically, a company that, to my knowledge, without a lot of private investment capital, maybe no investment capital. I don't know that much about the early ENS stuff. Was like a $7 billion company. It was basically created from scratch, and then launched a token, and now it's here. And now it's owned by a DAO, but it's kind of a company. You know what I mean? It's like it's a new category in and of itself. But I'm telling you, like, people who are smart, who are understand the dynamics of launching startups and turning them into multi-billion-dollar companies, and how to like raise capital, and how to IPO, and how to do all this type of stuff. Like, they're sitting here watching this going like, whoa. You know what I mean? So this launch in particular is sending shockwaves throughout the private equity world, startup world. It's just showing a massive upside potential for what you can do with blockchain. And this right here is a use case in and of itself that shows you what you can do with Web3 that you really can't do as easily in Web 2.0. Let's just say it's a massive lever, a new, novel, massive lever for like creating an insane amount of wealth. I'll put it that way. So it says Facebook is late to the metaverse. It's been around. Yeah. Well, part of it is Facebook can be late to the metaverse and still capture a large part of the market share simply because they have an insane amount of money and resources. So sure, like, it's like, think about it this way. All right, let's say you bought into crypto in like 2016 or something and it held ever since. Say you bought Bitcoin for like, I don't know, $100. I can't remember exactly what the Bitcoin price was in 2016. But let's just say you bought Bitcoin for $100 and you got some massive return. Let's say you bought it with $10,000. Like, well, a billionaire could still come in and put in, $10 million worth of Bitcoin at the current price and probably outperform you. You know what I mean? It's like he's got, in terms of the actual dollar amount returned, not necessarily ROI percentage, but you not necessarily optimizing for ROI percentage, you're optimizing for total spoils of war. So it's a similar type of thing with Facebook. Like, even if they're late to the metaverse, they can still come in with these massive amount of resources and dominate. And so how do you fix that? Well, basically you try to build compelling alternatives that are, close to the values that we want in crypto. So best way to bring ENS to Web 2 site. So basically you can use a resolver where like, I've done it a couple times. It's a lot easier to do it with IPFS, where you can just resolve to an IPFS URL. The last time I did it, I did with .eth.link. The other thing about Facebook is they can just buy a company's, like, they could just buy them like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, Facebook could buy a $100 million company and not even blink an eye. Especially I was half cringe and still half excited to see Facebook jumping on the bandwagon. Well, that's the other thing is like, there's still a world in which Facebook's involvement can be a net positive. I know a lot of people don't like Facebook. That's one of the reasons they got away from, they want to get into blockchain in the first place to get away from their reach and sort of their ethos. But they have a massive amount of users, okay? So, like, you can't stop them from building on public infrastructure. That's what blockchains are there for in the first place. It's very, very libertarian in that way. It's like, what are you going to do about it? Well, you create something, you can create a compelling alternative. But they can bring a lot of people into the space, and they could use your thing. Give them a reason to use yours over theirs. Okay, so we are seeing more towards the regulatory side of crypto. We're seeing. I saw this come up where a joint congressional committee, this is in the United States, to hold demystifying crypto hearing next week. Okay, so it's at least good that we're seeing these types of initiatives happen in the federal government. So U.S. Congress Joint, stupid pop-ups, Economic Committee will hold a hearing on November 17th focused on clarifying the role of government in the context of digital assets. Okay, the hearing entitled Demystifying Crypto will take place, all right, next week. You can stream it online if you want to. So he's the one who introduced the bill focused on regulating digital assets. So we'll see what the tone of this committee is. One reason this is also relevant is it could be interesting to see what happens to crypto prices during this meeting. So I'm quite new here. Do you ever mention the energy costs of blockchain or side effects on gaming market? Aren't people poor due to GPUs rising prices? So I'm not going to get into every single topic on that, but let's talk about just energy consumption in general. So, there's a couple ways to think about this. The real argument comes out of proof of work mining and what that does to energy costs, okay? So there's a couple different perspectives on this, a couple different arguments. One is like Ethereum is moving to proof of stake, which is going to consume vastly less, I don't know if that's correct English or not, but way less energy than proof of work mining, which is what it's currently on. That's on the ETH 2.0 merge, which very, 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 very conservatively is going to happen within the next year, probably a lot sooner. Not that by the end of the year, but within 12 months from now, and probably a lot sooner. So that's basically going to bypass that problem. Okay, so people talk about NFTs are bad for the environment. Well, what happens when we move to proof of stake? Like, you're not going to be able to really make that argument as much anymore. The other thing about proof of work, especially with Bitcoin, is like a counter argument to Bitcoin's proof of work is that all the efficiencies that you can gain out of the Bitcoin network and replacing old services with it can actually, like the reduction in those things will still be a net savings in energy costs if you were to use the Bitcoin network and replace those things. So you wouldn't decrease the energy impact of Bitcoin itself, but the total energy impact on all the things combined would be a net reduction. So that's another argument. I haven't dug into that argument that much, to tell you the truth, but that's one perspective to think about. I don't consider myself like an expert on the energy debate. Somebody says the millions of people who were waiting to buy, as well as those left wide-eyed by the news, all buy the dip. Yeah, I think we got people hungry on the sidelines for gains, for sure. Somebody says, thanks for answering, not entirely satisfied, but I get your point. That's okay. So what's the consensus on Bitcoin top? So there is no consensus. That's kind of how the markets work, but I don't think we've topped on Bitcoin for sure. Somebody says, is he a developer? I don't know if you're asking about me. Occasionally get people in here that are like, he's not an actual coder. It's like, okay, just look at my videos where I'm literally like coding on camera. Okay, so somebody says, it was asked above, but I joined after you had answered. I'm going to start your course. But want to understand JavaScript a little more. What path would you recommend? I would just recommend just starting with blockchain, and you're going to learn everything you need to know about JavaScript relevant to blockchain as you go. Now, you can always do some JavaScript practice in isolation outside the context of blockchain, but I wouldn't start with that because you're not going to understand how it's relevant. Like, you're not going to have context. It's not going to be sticky. You're going to forget most of it. So I would just start learning blockchain, which means start learning, how to use blockchains, how to implement smart contracts with Solidity programming language. And then as you learn just to write tests for those, create front-end websites around those, scripts around those, then you're going to learn JavaScript in that context. And you'll be way more effective with JavaScript. You're not going to know everything about JavaScript, but you'll know the parts of JavaScript you need to perform those tasks, and then you increase your skills around that over time. It's like this. So, have you ever heard anybody say, what's the best way to learn a foreign language, like a language you don't speak? Well, it's immersion. You just, jump in and you learn it. Now, you might use some tools to help you do that. Maybe use, a Duolingo app or a phrasebook or something. But you're in the context of being immersed in that thing, okay? You're not just going to, sit at home and, use your phrasebook and then, use Duolingo, and you're going to know enough to then go, you're going to realize that you're way in over your head whenever you go immerse yourself in that other culture. And you're not going to be that much farther ahead if you just started off jumping into that culture with those tools with you and started making use of those. So it's almost pointless to waste all this time, learn this stuff if you don't see how it applies in combat, so to speak. So it's the same thing with programming. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.